everybody, and welcome back to Steel Division 2 into Division 1 as we go into Onord versus Darkneutron. And Onord currently on a good path to maybe win that whole group, being up, winning 2-0 versus Gonzo. So let's see how it goes here. As Darkneutron on the other side lost his game against Gonzo, so has to get a W here to keep the chances for moving on alive. Otherwise, it will be pretty tough. Yeah. Darkneutron bringing in the 7th Estonian. Onord bringing in Task Force 45. Interesting matchup here on Chatrin. 7th Estonian, a division we haven't seen too often so far in league games. Especially not in the higher leagues, as they have a couple of issues, but they also have a couple of nice strengths. They have solid amount of infantry, and they have solid amount of different tanks. The anti-tank department though is mediocre, and so is the air and their artillery tab. The air tab has the air 2, but the air 2 has a big boom, but is a pretty slow plane. So yeah, Task Force 45 on the other side has the only issue of not having anti-tank guns in A phase and being a bit limited in choices in A phase and infantry, but converted gun as US still, even for 25 points, an amazing infantry unit. So it's going to be a tough fight here for Darkneutron to try to overcome Onord in this one. Cavalry scouts around, converted gunners US, engineer leaders, ammo pioneers. I wonder what Darkneutron's idea here is with this deck. Okay, we see... I don't even know the names of the 7th Estonians, like all the Estonian names. They are most of the times relatively close to their Soviet counterparts, but I like, for example, these Pioneery PPS. These actually have TNT. On the other side, you have Ammo and Pioneers TNT recon units, so that might be interesting. But I think those are snipers here, those 7 guys in front. But I, for example, don't even know about that because we see them so seldom. Like, yeah, it might be the least played minor nation in League. Like, New Zealanders, maybe on par with the South Africans as we go in here. So even the South Africans might have been played more in this season so far. Here we go. Snipers moving forward. On the other side, M8s, Shermans, M10 tank destroyers, T70, the Proto Hellcat coming around for the center. Another one coming in the north. A couple of TNT units here coming in as well. But these pioneers all go for the hill for Darkneutron. Darkneutron wants to win the duel down here, especially with infantry and this Tapsu Cure. The question is, can he overwhelm the armor of the enemy? Shermans, if close by, can be penetrated by the M42, especially the A1 model with only 90 frontal armor. So this firepower of, yeah, double sniper, 2 main sniper teams could do the job here. They have the range on the HMG. Snipers pin them all down. All the HMGs already pinned down. M42 get the M8. And that push here is interesting. F22 anti-tank version with 105mm of penetration. Moving forward. Couple of pioneers coming in here for the south, together with some 50mm mortars in the north. We see the DP units, the basically Guardia DP copy, moving forward here. Oh, Strelky DP. But SD2 tries to get for a bombing run, and that's, or a rocket run onto the T70, and that's usually a pretty good way of dealing with T70s, as they have relatively low hit points and low top armor, and the SD2 gets the kill. Really good counter there, as the T70s with the high mobility can be really annoying to catch with ground units, but air units really strong against them. SU2 gets the kill there, is now also a bit of a recon plane. It's a pretty expensive anti-tank rocket plane, but combined with the recon, it's quite nice. Gets the kill there. Mortars down here, pin down the converted gunners. Converted gunners get stressed relatively quickly. Pioneeries up here, the Pioneer PPS, the quick ones in here as well, trading with the ammo and Pioneers on the other side. So way more TNT here for Darkneutron. Mid-range firepower is on the side of the converted gunners. The bar plus 13 M1 grants gives them a good amount of firepower, though only if they have similar veterancy, which they don't have right now, as there's a leader and there's already base veterancy on these pioneers, so they actually are able to push the enemy back here. Now an SU2 with bombs comes in, pushes this whole thing back. Converted gunners moving in the north, M15 coming in to prevent SU2 to kill the second T-70 as well, but killing off the T-70 in the north, for sure a good start here for Darkneutron. Pioneers sitting all around here. SVT infantry, a really solid one, 20-point SVT unit there. Ammo pioneers get killed off by a pioneer. Great micro here by Darkneutron, instantly moving out of there, getting the kill without losing his own pioneer squad. Really good micro there from our player from down under. A20 coming around, but Onord in trouble here in the south. This push with the sniper rifles and the M42s really strong. Countered Task Force 45's set up here pretty well. And now it holds the place. And yeah, Sherman now trying to move up. But the anti-tank guns can deal with those. You don't have anything bigger around, so I'm not sure how Onord is supposed to break this. We'll see what his attempts will be, but it won't be easy here for Onord to try to break this whole setup in the south. M10 tank destroyer engaging here, but has to be careful. Anti-tank guns can easily penetrate it. Sniper rifles not so much. Snipers can deal with the converted gunners pretty easily though. So yeah, this setup is a problem for Onord. Meanwhile, KV-1S and Su-76s trying to move forward in the north. No anti-tank in here whatsoever. Another ammo pioneer did bite the dust. Only converted gunners now remaining. And with lower veterancy than the other side, they will lose the fights here. The DP unit pushes them back. Your mate scout coming in. As the Mitchell bombers try to do their best here to pin down units on the other side. Kill them off, but they are struggling. They are struggling hardcore. F-22 moving around. Convert gunners goes down. M10 A1 has to sit back. F-22 shooting the M10 A1. That has to disengage. Artillery coming in nicely. And the Laskurit DP moving in the north. Converted gunners chilling on the other side. M8 Scott trying to come in. KV-1S rolling forward as well. And there we go. B-25 Mitchell will get a nice bombing run in here. F-22's on the receiving end of this. So this is the way Onord will try to get the foothold here again. Killing off the AT, but P-25s are expensive, F-22s not so much, so you need to come a couple of times to really get the value there. Whilst the Sherman does die on the hill, and Onord is in a pickle here. Really good play here with the 7th Estonian out of Darkneutron. Pioneer PPS Lakurit and Lakurit SVT sitting around. M8 Scott rolling forward. Couple of T-26s on the other side popping up. KV-1S for the south. As the armor comes in as well. And these tanks can deal with Shermans pretty well as well. You need M10s against the KV-1S to trade efficiently. And those can be dealt with by all the anti-tank guns as long as they come in range. And also the SU with the anti-tank rockets. Back once more, M8 Scout. Scott this time most likely the target. Loses line of sight last second. But the KVs can deal with that as well. So the M8 Scott has to be really careful. Converted gunners get pushed back here. And Darkneutron should be up on a 59 in a second. And Onord is absolutely in shambles here. This game might not end well for our Turkish player on the right side. T-26E rolling forward. A couple more coming in the south. As Darkneutron just now wants to overwhelm Darkneutron with numbers. Spamming units left, right, and center. M10A1 sitting on the bottom here. Converted gunners coming in everywhere, but they don't have leaders. And the infantry of the 7th Estonian can keep up with them. Su-76 hits them here. DP infantry moving forward. Meanwhile, over here, the other T-70 gets killed off by the anti-tank guns. Yeah, these anti-tank guns, if they can get into somewhat closer combat, are absolutely sufficient against what Onord can throw at them. So, this seems to be pretty much over. It feels like it, at least. As, yeah, these AA pieces now should lock down B-25s. Sniper rifles around everywhere, and Onord's units on the battlefield are just so low in number. Another Sherman tries to come around in the north, cavalry scout trying to come around there as well, but Darkneutron is just moving forward and uses the advantages of his division really, really well. As I said, I'm sadly not an expert on the 7th Estonian, but yeah, the playstyle here seems to fit them perfectly, especially against Tassos 45. Cheap tanks also abusing the fact that Darkneutron doesn't have any anti-tank guns in A-phase, so that they can move around. Infantry converted gunners also don't bring any AT in A-phase. B-phase, the Nisei rifles, different story. They all have a bazooka, but in A-phase you can often make the Tassos 45 bleed with light armor. So I like that idea here. Though we are about to hit B-phase, but this is a really big uphill battle now for Blair and Blue. SD2 still around here. Still has some rockets. M15 will push it back most likely before it can do any harm. But off map coming in now for the north as well, which is not even really needed. Like, Darkneutron could currently just A-click about Onord in the north. The cavalry scouts and converted gunners most likely wouldn't hold the line there. T-26 is now coming around, but off map will help out for sure. Now, in the south, only a couple of converted gunners all around, but against the high-level veteran C infantry on the other side, they don't trade as well as you want them to do. No leaders for them, so they don't get any extra firepower. And also with the disheartened trait, it's sometimes a bit annoying to use them, as they automatically fall back in situations sometimes where you don't want to have them fall back. So they can be a bit problematic in that fact as well. 37mm will keep the A20 here out of this place. B25s maybe could do some damage in the north when they have reloaded. As in the south, they might not even get through anymore against two 1-star veterans 37mm. As SVT's infantry comes up with the leader, they will be 1-star veterancy. At that stage, then they will start to outtrade the converted gunners. In cost efficiency at least. And in the north, the Laskurit have gotten into good positions as well, holding against the converted gunners here as well. Off map coming in, looks pretty good to me. That off map position will allow the S2 and the KV1 most likely to deal with the M4A1. T26 could move up a bit as well. B25 Mitchell, as I said, yeah, better to use in the north now that the south has AA. Good scouting there with the A20. B25 coming in. This is really the only way to get this game back under control here for Onord. Using those for some good runs and then following it up. But the LA5 already in the air. M15 is a bit far in the middle to protect the B25 on its own. 25 has to be really careful here. Onord keeps it busy. Its turret gunners try to deal with the LA5, but LA5 gets behind it, gets the kill, and losses like this are really now the nail in the coffin here in game number 1. Darkneutron on a good way for the upset. This is looking nice. Sniper rifles moving forward, converted gunners here trying to hold the ground, M15 falling back. Sniper rifles get the converted gunners in the south. 81mm mortar. Could come in here. Could come in nicely to hit this whole position. Whilst LA5 in the north is under fire by the B25. Might go down to the rear gunners. The rear gunners of the B25 obviously pretty potent. As if we have a look on this, there's quite a couple of turrets here. There are quite a couple of turrets with 50 cults, so the LA5 might have to be careful about how it wants to pursue this B25. You usually want to come from up front. But even up front, direct head-on is also not great, because the B25 also has frontal armor, armament, with 6 50 cults, so a bit of a annoying unit to attack. At some angles, I think it has 50 cals firing at you. Or at least 5 MGs. I'm not quite sure if those are 50 cals in the turret. But still, quite a couple of MGs firing at your soft target. But the 16-8 still going on. The bombing runs didn't do what they needed to do here. KV-1 gets the M8 Scout. The Sherman down here is out of it as well. And the 16-8 has Onord on an 8-minute timer. Southern situation. More Shermans trying to come in. But KV-1s, T-34s, Su-76s, and a couple of AT guns sitting around here should do a pretty decent job at keeping that at bay. Off-map still around as well. Another 37mm AA piece to prevent the A-20s from getting more recon for longer in the future, and also softening up the B-25s for LA-5 runs. Whilst the Nisei rifles are now around. Amazing infantry for 30 points, 2 bars, 9 M1 Garants, and a bazooka. So you get a lot of firepower out of these, but they have a hell of a lot of work cut out for them. Also 2-star veterancy, so even though they look somewhat similar in loadout to the converted gunners, they actually have a lot more firepower thanks to the extra veterancy there. And yeah, SU2 coming in here as well. Once more, no AA here for Onord. And the off-map is dead center on T3's Nisei's most efficient way of dealing with stuff like this. And the SU2, really efficient as well. Gets 1 run, 1 kill here onto a Sherman. SU2, pretty much an MVP here for Darkneutron. As the A20 is flying around, will get pushed back relatively soon though. And the off-map is coming in here. So the Niseis are in trouble. They were all centered around their mortar fire coming in now as well. Yeah, these Niseis not gonna get anywhere. 14-10 now. Slowed it down a bit as Onord captured the flag back in the center. Sherman plus converted gunners trying to hold the line there. And M15 saving these units as well, as we have some Churchills coming in. Churchills also great against Shermans. Not so great against M10s, as they are slow and cumbersome. And the M10s, if they get the right angle, can outrange them and kill them from afar. But against Shermans, they hold the line pretty nicely. Shermans can't engage them well. And in the north, the mortar fire does continue. Niseis do recover. Didn't take too much damage from the off-map itself, but every slowdown here right now is pretty annoying for Onord. Though Darkneutron wants to go for the 59, I think, to really secure this game. To not allow Onord any wiggle room here, as 12 minutes give him a bit of time to recover, but the situation is pretty dire. Will be a tough way back in here. Onord not really having any major push going on right now. Sherman in the south, engaging the M42s. M42 gets the driver knocked out, as I said. M4A1 with the only 90 frontal armor can be beaten, especially by the F22s, but even the M42s with its APCR can do some harm there. E26 on the side as well. The Su-76 and the KV-1 pretty good in that matchup as well, especially the KV-1 with its slightly better penetration and armor, and that all for cheaper than the Sherman. Is a pretty good counter there. It's slower and it has a worse gun, lower rate of fire and lower accuracy, but that doesn't matter if the Sherman doesn't penetrate you and you penetrate the Sherman. LE5 in the north gets another kill though. Drops an M20 there, A20. E26 trying to come around. Anti-tank guns. Find them though. As more M10s come in here, but they can't really use their range advantage here. And Darkneutron has dug in well with the infantry all around. Nisei rifles will try to come up, but even them won't win a duel from no cover into cover. So as long as the DPs engage them before they can jump into a building, all should be fine. And even then they shouldn't trade completely terrible. So getting this back under control here for Onord. Still a long and tough path here. Is trying to do so and is getting somewhat close. Now artillery comes in with the radio mortar. Doesn't have a radio coverage over here though, so the mortar is inaccurate. The 2 AA pieces with 1-star veterancy get the A20 down here as well. So Onord losing a couple of units that he really doesn't want to lose. Nisei 6-pounder in the north under fire. M42 using its HE shells to deal with Nisei rifles and converted gunners to do at least a bit of damage there. Every Nisei rifle killed is quite a bit of value there, without it being able to retaliate. Converted gunners going down over here. F22 in a nice spot. Can it get on target? It does seem to have issues there. Doesn't quite seem to be able to engage the converted gunners down here as an M4 Sherman comes in. But with the Churchill and the Su-76, it will have problems to prevail up there. It's a nice idea here. It's good against the anti-tank guns, as it can bounce them pretty nicely, and it does have a lot of HE to deal with them. But against the Churchill and the Su-76, it still might die. Doesn't have any heat shells, so can't retaliate in those fights. M10 can, but it's in a pretty nasty position here, and would be engaged quickly and killed off if it would follow the 105mm up there. So Darkneutron still only on the 1410 here. Not quite the 59 to finish it quickly, but still seems to be finishing it. Nisei rifles in the north getting stuck. Meanwhile, in the center, M4A1 engaging a couple of infantry units here, trying to gain more ground, but there's still a long path to a new flag here, and still 2 more flags are needed here for Onord to only reach the draw situation. And with a 50-minute time limit, even after that, it might become troublesome to push the 7th completely off of here, as a lot of T-34s are rolling in, and 4 of them, if they don't get popped by the bazookas, can overwhelm an M4A1. And there's a 5th one here already, so 5 of them versus 1 Sherman. Not a fair fight for the Sherman, as the DP units here get a couple of nice kills as well. Sherman in the south doesn't have any natural predators around it, so it can bully the Lascarit a bit from afar. Whilst in the north, converted gunners still not making any headway. The defensive line here of Darkneutron is exactly at the right spot in my eyes. Not allowing the M10s for long-range shots into it, but every unit that tries to get into a building will come under fire, will suffer casualties. Sherman in the north versus KV-1S. KV-1S does miss, Sherman does bounce. If the KV-1S does get a hit, its chance of penetration ain't half bad, but gets the shooter knocked out. Unfortunate there. Sherman with the better rate of fire. Slowly but surely will eventually get a penetration in there, but the chances on these ranges, like slightly above 500, are still pretty low, whilst the KV-1S has decent chances, gets those, and gets the kill there. The KV-1 gets the kill onto another Sherman. No Shermans in the north left, and those Shermans are pretty important here as infantry support, more so than as anti-tank, and losing them here is pretty painful. Sherman over here goes down, T-34 over here goes down, but so does the M10 tank destroyer, and with so many vehicles, so many snipers, so many anti-tank guns still around, 1311 is pretty close here, as Onord finally gets the flag in the south. But yeah, units overwhelmed the Sherman in the center, Sherman in the center down. Those armored vehicles that Onord needed as an anchor unit, all down. Can't pivot around them anymore. Sherman's still heavily outnumbered by T-34s. Oh no, the last Sherman even going down here. So no anti-tank left here whatsoever outside of a couple of bazookas. No longer range anti-tank, so the T-34s can go absolutely ham. Can easily push for a 59 right now and finish this game, as it's only 5 minutes 30 remaining. Oh boy, Darkneutron coming in hot here against an Onord that was able to topple Gonzo in the group stage. So this is interesting. This is quite interesting. T-34-76 moving forward. Nisei rifles under pressure. Meanwhile, KV-1S engaging in the north. Nisei rifles there, slowly dropping. Mortar fire from the rear, coming in big numbers. Landing all around the M10s. That'll be hitting the B-25s over here. B-25 Mitchell being pushed back. So those bombing runs not paying off anymore. But by now, it's over. Like, it's 4 minutes remaining. And Darkneutron could just A-click this forward and would win. There's not enough anti-tank to stop his armored forces. In the north, not quite the same scenario, but his defensive position here should hold as well, especially with 4 more infantry units coming in for reinforcement. Not sure the Andreyusha here is really necessary. There's not a good unit concentration on the other side, but will help out as well. Ooh, M10 falls to a PTRS here. Yeah, they have pretty small low side armor. They are not a tank you want to push with. M10s are really tank destroyers, not tanks. They are there to hunt enemy armored vehicles. They usually don't want to engage enemy infantry, and if so, only from far away, but not in the middle of a city. Their turret rotation doesn't support that, and their armor especially doesn't either. 75mm already pretty low frontal armor, but the 25 side armor makes them susceptible to any kind of AT, even those PTRDs and PTRSs. So yeah, losing those 2 anti-tank rifle teams is pretty painful. SU-76 here getting a shot off onto the M10, getting a turret stuck, so this M10 is going to go down as well. Onord still trying to fight on, but the odds are so heavily stacked against him. M10 goes down, more Shermans coming in, but the numbers here are just not comparable. Now the Andreyusha also is firing. Bit unnecessary, as I said. Not really a spot you need to use the Andreyusha for, and it's a pretty expensive unit. Could have maybe been used more wisely or something else, but it still does its job here. Nisei rifles and Pasinas under heavy fire, slowly dropping. Pasinas goes down there, Nisei rifle goes down as well. So Andreyusha still did its job here, helping to clean out the last remaining infantry units here as well. Center completely in the hands of Darkneutron, and in the south, Nisei rifles under pressure as well. So this is going to be it in 1 minute. Darkneutron going to get the first map here, and if Darkneutron can get another win here, that would get his chances of making it to the playoffs a lot higher. And would create a weird scenario in this group in general, with Onord being 2-0 up over Gonzo in his first match. M4A1 moving around. SU2 hits the M4A1 over here. LA5 under fire. M15 hitting around. Nisei rifle sitting in the rear in 19 seconds. 30 from over here, not engaging. And 12 seconds remaining on the clock. Sherman gets the kill in the north. Churchill dropping that, whilst mortars from the rear do engage over here, but they not do enough. And oh boy, Darkneutron, the new face in Division 1, Division 2, second place last season, coming in with a pretty hard game here against one of the league's favorites. Really great start, great execution there, and nearly a 2-1 KD in the end. Impressive play out of Darkneutron. Impressive play. So yeah, let's move on to game number 2 in a minute. See you all there. So here we go, game number 2, and Darkneutron is sticking with his Soviet divisions. 43rd Reserve Army this time around, as we are on the big Onord favorite map of Slutsk West. A map which Onord really is great on. Like all the Slutsk maps are maps he is really good on. So let's see how he plays this time around, as it's an interesting matchup. 43rd Reserve versus 20th Panzer. Both sides can bring IS-2s. Both have pretty good long-range equipment. Infantry on both sides also relatively cost-efficient. One of the few matchups, though, where the German deck actually has the cheaper infantry compared to the Soviet deck. So that's going to be interesting. SU-152s, really strong unit in this matchup. But PaK-43s and the IS-2 on the other side can deal with them. So it's going to be interesting what this is going to be. And if you want to support these players and you want to show your support, you can do so not just with comments and likes, which are always glad and welcome. But also with a direct contribution to Match Arena via this page for the tournament crowdfunding, as we by now have over $100 of prize pool for season number 9. But you can make this more without having to pay anything. You just have to do the sponsor quests here on the side, where you visit the website. But you don't have to click on it, anything on it, for example here, for Lucid Sound. And for example, this adds 20 cents to the prize pool directly. Or you can do a quick survey here over at Match Arena. Takes you a minute and adds another 30 cents to the prize pool. That you don't have to pay for it, but that gets paid out in the end to some of these top level players here, which is pretty nice. You can also obviously contribute directly. Big thanks to everyone who did so already. Like Soap, Witch Doctor, Proxy and Dill, and My Chunka and Reef. Big thanks to all of these guys supporting SD League and giving the players a bit more reason to play outside of just the glory and the fun of it, as they really deliver entertaining matches. I mean, game number 1 was a surprise. Really great start by Darkneutron. Can he copy that in game number 2 as well? Has he brought another great opening here? Or can Onord this time crush him with his German division? As I said, the map way more Onord's alley than in game number 1. But it's going to be an interesting one nonetheless here, with Panzer Grenadiers, Panzer 4Gs and co. Up in the north, we have a couple of Stravniki, Saperi Rocks, SG-43s, M42s, BA-10s, and Chernos, all coming around there. Panzer 3Ls on the other side, Panzer Grenadier, Panzer Faust, and a couple of MG-42s. It's going to be a hot action here, not gonna lie. Going to be some hot action. Surprised to see T-34s here, as with 1,500 meter range. They are not amazing. Also see Commander T-34s, but I'm starting, like, back in the day I used command tanks quite a bit, but I feel like they're always a bit hard to use, and you only really want them in decks where you have a lot of cheap tanks, where you can have them as the core unit of a big tank push. Otherwise, I feel like they are always a bit hard to keep close to your units without risking them getting killed off by an anti-tank gun or so. So, yeah, let's see how Darkneutron is going to use them. Other side, Flak 43, a Grilla to mirror the SE-152. Great IG, HE weapon as well for 2000 meter. Panzer 4Gs, absolutely great tanks. One of the good cost-efficient tools in that deck. Flak 43, great AA, will help out against IL-2 incursions like this one. And the Panzer Grenadiers are pretty decent ones as well. No DP version on the battlefield just yet. Oh no, we have DP versions. Sorry. Yeah, for Panzer Grenadier DP in the south. Really good, cost-efficient, double DP infantry for 20 points. Some of the best infantry that the Germans have to offer. SG-43 here moving up. It says 3-gun coming in for the road with a couple of infantry units. Let's see, is any one of these two players going really aggressive here at the start? Doesn't seem to be Darkneutron at least this time. Stoßtruppen and Panzer Grenadiers trying to move in. Flak 43 gets to fire onto the L2KR here for a good while. Might lose line of sight there though, and might not be quite able to finish the job. As with 1-star accuracy, Flak 43s are pretty scary, even for a heavily armored plane like an IL-2KR. But the IL-2KR will make it out alive. SU-152 aiming down the road. T-34 rolling down here. Panzer 4Gs though outrange it, and also have great penetration chances against the T-34 with only 75mm frontal armor. Have better rate of fire, and especially with 2-star accuracy, also a way better accuracy. So the T-34 has to be careful. SU-152 aiming down the road, trying to get some shots off. Panzer 4G aiming up now. T-34 on the other side, trying to get a shot off, but Panzer 4G's outclasses big time. Ooh, the Grilla tries to kill it as well. T-34 already damaged. GO napalm bombers coming around. There is no anti-air on the battlefield just yet. Trying to kill the SG-43 over here. GO bomber trying to get some infantry around here. M2A half-track gets sniped by the Panzer 4Gs. SG-43 under pressure as well here. 13-11 for Onord. Has the flag in the south. Panzer Grenadiers coming in for it. Stravniki officers on the other side. good unit as well, especially with 2-star veterancy, but against 2 Panzer Grenadiers and a Panzer 3L, it should still lose out. That's the SU-152. Keeps on shooting in the center. Not really getting any hits though, whilst the Guerrilla does hit pretty decently. So, situation here for Darkneutron, a bit iffy. As the GO-55 still tried to hunt down some infantry over here as well. 85mm AAP is still on the way. Hasn't quite gotten any connection just yet. GO-145 coming in with the second one in the north. Panzer Grenadiers holding the forest. Strafnikis and Chanos sitting on the other side next to the leader tank. Currently getting the veterancy from it, but T-34-76 versus Panzer 3L, not a great engagement for T-34. The M42 not in position to help out, so the T-34 can't really take this fight. BA-10 will try to tilt that into favor of Soviets. 2-1. That might work out. Meanwhile, the GOs dropped their bombs. 85mm still hasn't unloaded. Yak-9B though, great fighter bomber as well. Really cost efficient, 100 points for 4 100kg bombs that also reload pretty quickly and deal a hell of a lot of damage. Panzer Grenadiers get wiped out there. Nice hit there for Darkneutron. Now also trying to hunt down the GO. Has to be careful with the Flak 43 though. Yeah, better go home than run into a Flak 43 with a Yak-9B. Yak-9B is really soft, really low hit points. Get killed off quite quickly by Flak 43s, so you have to be careful once those come around more numerous. 81mm mortar will come in here as well. Will help out against Saperi and Saperi rocks. Meanwhile, Tank of the Sanikis and Saperi's holding the south. Guerrilla gets a nice hit. Panzer Grenadiers holding the line. Panzer 4Gs sitting around there as well. Meanwhile, GO, nice hit here on the Strafniki officer. Panzer Grenadiers moving forward. IL-2KR trying to come in. Will pin them down. Will drop one of them to 1 hit point actually, as they were still moving. Great run for the IL-2KR there. The other Panzer Grenadier though engages the Strafniki. With Fanatic trait, they at least don't surrender. Will keep on running away. IL-2KR tries to come around once more. Tries to drop the second Panzer Grenadier DP down as well. But will struggle to find the connection there. Strafniki still retreating. Whilst the center fight is still hot. Mortar coming in here. GO going for reconnaissance works in the north. AAP is trying to push it back now, as the GO won't drop its napalm bombs, but it's a pretty cheap plane. 25 points nowadays. Started back at 20 points back in the day. Was a bit OP at this. Ooh, M42 could get a nice kill here. Ooh, if that would be... No, Flak 43 doesn't fall for it. A bit unfortunate there. If Darkneutron would have gotten that kill, Yak-9B bombers could have come around and really decimated the north. But with Flak 43 out here now, Yak-9Bs have to be really, really careful. And you don't have the artillery to pin down the Flak 43s, so you kind of need to use SU-152s. There would be one around here that could do the job, but it's currently idle. Darkneutron not using all his assets right now, which is a bit of a problem, as Onord is doing that pretty much all around the map. Like, the only unit not engaging currently is that one Pak 40 here. But Flak 43 could easily be engaged by the SU-152 without the Pak 40 being able to do anything about it. GO coming around, another Panzer 3L. Flak 43 sitting quite in the open there. And Darkneutron holds the forest over here, gets rid of the Panzer 3L. Is close to a 12-12 again. Meanwhile in the south though, artillery coming in. Saperi rocks under fire, Panzer Grenadiers pushing for it. Ooh, the Saperi rocks going to die here. Panzer Grenadiers move forward. Interesting positions here down in the south as well. Could maybe move a slight bit forward. But yeah, these Panzer Grenadiers will open up against the Strafniki officer. Panzer 4G trying to come around as well. Panzer Grenadiers now trying to engage 2 versus 1. As the Strafniki officers moved into the open. And that's great for the Panzer Grenadiers. As in the open, the Strafniki officers will get decimated here. Good engagement from Onord, that quick retreat and then moving back in. Able to get rid of a lot of Strafnikis there. whilst only losing a couple of his Panzer Grenadiers. South is a nice hold here as well with the Panzer 3L into 2 Panzer Grenadiers. BA-10 on its own won't be able to deal with it, though good investment into a M42. That can do the job against the Panzer 3L if Onord is sloppy. If Onord realizes it, he can move it into a position where the M42 can't follow and it still can annoy enemy units that try to cross the open. So, not a clean solution, but let's see how it works out. Meanwhile, SU-152 trying to help out in the north. No units in this forest actually though, as we are back to a 12-12. Mortar fire coming in onto the south. SG-43 under fire. Panzer 4G helping out as well. Ooh, Panzer 4G getting a unit in transport here. Yak-9 B trying to come around. Flak 43 looking in the wrong direction right now. Ooh, but Onord has, Darkneutron has to be careful. Doesn't want to fly into that. More GO-55s coming in here. AA is sitting around on the other side. No fighters on the side of Darkneutron. No LA-7s out just yet. As an LA-7 could decimate these planes quite easily, but obviously it is a pretty big investment. As we are about to jump into B phase, Onord on the 1311. On a bit of a push in the north as well. That's the center. It is looking interesting. GO-55s trying to decimate the infantry here. Only one being able to drop its bombs. And doesn't even get onto target. Bit unfortunate there. M42 not able to connect onto the Panzer 3 though. Oh, second GO. No. Wait, mortar fire actually. Coming in nicely. The 85mm using up its HE rounds here. Push back these GOs. Saperi goes down. Stropnicki officer under heavy fire as well. That's in the north. GOs come in around. But only one dropping its bomb. Not killing anything. Second one tries to get onto the Stropnicki officer to allow the Panzer Grenadiers to move in there. Saperi rocks behind it though. Should be able to hold the forest nonetheless. Panzerschreck is in a nice spot though. Gets the T-34 popped. Panzer 3L now can come around. Can deal with the BA-10 easily. No anti-tank around here anymore. So the BA-10 is the only thing holding here. Panzerschreck gets killed off by the Stropnicki. GO-55, 145 still coming in for it though. And if these napalm bombs land on these Stropnickis, the Stropnicki will be in a lot of trouble. Already engaging Panzer Grenadiers from green into from yellow into green cover, so that's already not great. But the GO gets pushed back before it can do more harm. Panzer 3L moving forward. Beuter Stalin coming in for Onord here in the center. Pak 43 joining it as well. And yep, Onord loves to play with big boy tanks. Once more around here with the Stalin. We saw him against Gonzo with the Elephant. In 20th Panzer Grenadier. 1410 here. Closing in on the 59. Panzer 4 moving in the south as well. And Onord is firing out of all cylinders all around the map now. Beuter Stalin slowly pushing forward here. Helping out in the north now. Maybe not the most efficient shots here, but it does its part to help out. IL-2KR going really low. Will survive though. Black 43 not quite getting the kill there, but will stay out for quite a bit. MG42 moving around here. Will open up fire onto the channels. Channels just slightly out of range. But T-34 at least tries to help out from the south. Channels will get pushed back. And then the MG42 can grab this flag, which would be a 16-8 already. And also could potentially push onto this 85mm, which is running out of HE shells and also could be pinned down relatively quickly there. Meanwhile, Panzer 4G is opening up against the 85mm actually. Doesn't get spotted it seems, as it is in green in yellow cover here in the backyard. Panzer 4G starting to deal with the 85mm, and losing that obviously would be a major loss. As on the other side of IS-2s, two IS-2s coming in for Darkneutron. Okay, that's big investments, but the Pak 43 is on the other side, and there's cluster bombers. So if the AA goes down here, our player in red will have to have fighters, otherwise those Ju-87 cluster bombers will ruin his day. Okay, another AA piece is up. This one here has to be careful though, has to fall back, still under fire. Is pinned down, as we have a Ju-87 D5 coming in. 85mm, if it would unload over here, could potentially stop that from dropping its bombs if it gets good hits. First shot out. It has pretty low rate of fire without veterancy. And its first hit might not have been good enough. Okay, 85mm dies anyway. Ju-87D5 coming in over here now. LA7 trying to come in time. As the IS-2 tries to get away. T-34 is the target of the Ju-87D5 this time around. And the Ju-87D5 will go down. GOs have to be careful. LA7 does its job, as it is under fire from ground AA. And will be pushed back. Won't be able to kill off the GOs, but the GOs are stopped by AA anyways. IL-2's still around. IS-2's still around. As the Beuter Stalin is opening up fire against the 85mm. 85mm in danger. And more D5 cluster bombers could come in for the IS-2s. Second IS-2 here of Darkneutron. Not in a position to hit the Beuter Stalin. PaK-43 on the way. So this SU-ISU combo has to be careful against this. As they're getting into range shortly. Let's see if they can get a kill. They might not even spot it. No recon out here for Darkneutron. A recon unit over here would be really, really helpful. They don't even see the PaK-43 now. Yeah, unsupported IS-2s, not the greatest of units. The 85mm over here in trouble. Ju-87D5 comes in for the IS-2. Will get its cluster bombers out. Might be able to get the kill there. Not quite. Too heavily spread out. But another Ju-87D5 is around. PaK-40 actually gets smoked before it can get a kill in the north though. Gets a penetration against the SU, but doesn't get the IS-2, but the Ju-75 might finish where the PaK-43 started. And gets the double kill. Absolutely bloody here. Second IS-2 in the south, still in trouble. Yeah, double IS-2 play maybe not the way to go here for Darkneutron. A bit of an overinvestment into those heavy tanks without having the support for them. And the Beuter Stalin still alive on the other side. IL-2KR tries to get rid of the GOs, but Panzer IV actually, together with the Grille, pops the IS-2 down here that was falling back. And both IS-2s are down, and with this, the whole situation here is getting pretty traumatic now for Darkneutron. Like, there's little to nothing left, and Darkneutron does surrender. GGVP, well done by Onord, getting himself a 1-1 here. And with that, being on the jump board, out of the playoffs, whilst Darkneutron, nice game one. But a 1-1 here is not what he is less than he needed after his loss versus Gonzo in his first game. So this is going to be rough. And yeah, next series we're going to go into is Onord versus Skotter. Skotter